Here we are, as close to on time as possible without going early. It's great to see everyone here today. I want to welcome Katie did it and Jack from Foul Play, and I don't recall. Um,
Hello.
yeah, and we're gonna do some pretty in-depth conversation tonight, or giving out pretty in-depth information. We're really trying to give everybody a sense of how much Terry Morris played in the actual investigation of Jannie Ligons. So really quick before we get started, I want to just let everybody take a couple seconds and say hello or whatever you do, and or whatever you want to do. Jack, if you want to go first.
Yeah, well, I was doing about 14 different things earlier and looked up and the clock said 20 minutes up. I'm like, oh, damn, I gotta stop what I'm doing here and get ready for this. So I was just a little bit late getting started, but
Eh,
yeah, this been doing getting ready for this weekend and looking at different material from Sean and Sean Reck and Candace Owens about convicting that I'm going to do a rebuttal video on. So yeah,
cool.
that's what I've been
All
doing.
right. Yeah, lots going on in Foul Play for sure. Kay, how about your hello for the evening?
Hello. Just staying inside so I don't have to get my boat out. Here in Oklahoma it's flooding, so
Oh my gosh, I know I've seen it's pretty bad weather. Well, stay safe and stay dry and stay on the ground. That's all important.
all right, ready for this.
All right, me too. Cherie, do you have a quick hello for everyone?
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Okay. And hello to everybody in both chats. I can share on my screen some of your comments in both chats, but I can't reply from StreamYard. I can only reply in my chat. So we'll make sure we get links dropped in both chats, though, along the way. So as I said, we really feel like it's really important to share information about Terry Morris, um, to so that you can kind of get the connection of why it became so important for the investigators to tie her to Jannie Ligons in order to make Daniel a serial rapist. So as horrible as that sounds, Kay, do you want to start with the beginning of how we're going to present, or from the outline, or
Um do you we can start with the timeline slides
okay,
at 90
we'll
at
start with that first.
94.
And just a reminder again, I use a lot of the information that we get, especially now because it's already been done. A lot of the information that we use, we're getting from Brian Bates, who was hired by Daniel's counsel as the investigator for trial. Uh, Brian Bates had every conceivable piece of information and documentation that could be gotten as the investigator. So if I'm telling you that something is from Brian Bates, you can trust me and believe that it's factual information. There's nothing that is twisted or half truth or whatever. Brian Bates is the end all, beat all for Daniel's case when it comes to information. So I just want to share that with everybody and make sure, and I'll probably keep saying it. So um, I just want to make sure, and you don't have to just listen to what we present. You can go to Bates Investigates podcasts and listen to all of his podcasts that he's done up till now. And he's got everyone but the last three accusers, I think. But you can listen to it for yourself at his podcast. And I think we try to share the link every time that we talk. I use Podbean. You can use Apple, even if you don't have an Apple device or an Apple account. You can listen to it on Apple or Spotify or anywhere that you like to listen to podcasts. You can get Bates Investigates. And it's definitely worth your while to listen to. So with that, we are going to start. About a year and a half ago, I want to say, Kay and Cherie and I started working on some slides of the timeline. Excuse me. Kay has been really diligent with it. She goes back to it much more often than I do. And about the timeline, and a lot of good information, factual information, researched information that she plugs in that kind of gives you an insight, kind of gives you a more of a you were there kind of feeling when you go through them. But we're going to start with slide number 94 in this presentation. Jack, do you want to read this slide? I didn't ask anybody if they want to help. I'm just assigning as I go.
Well, that's what sisters do. Sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. June 18th, 2014, 4 p.m. Officer Holtzclaw reports to lineup. When second shift is asked if anyone pulled someone over on 50th and Lincoln, he immediately tells them about the after-hour stop. He is then taken into the Captain Clifton's office, where he agrees to be photographed. Detective Rocky Gregory says he typed the report from Terry Morris on June 3rd, 2014 interview on the morning of June 18th because, quote, it was quiet in the office, end quote. Looks like we're still at 4 p.m. Holtzclaw agrees to go downtown with detectives Rocky Gregory and Kim Davis, where he fully cooperates in a 2-hour interview. He agreed to a polygraph, responds, quote-unquote, yes, when asked if he wanted to see the video they claimed to have from the assault, allow them to collect his DNA, and is stripped of his gun, badge, uniform, pants, and belt, placed on administrative leave, and given a ride home.
And if you watched the last one that we did on Daniel's case 2 weeks ago, you know that I think it was 2 weeks ago, you saw the interrogation video that we played, and that at the end is where they strip him of his life, basically.
Yeah, stripped him. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
bastards.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Allergies are about to do me in right now, so I apologize for the coughing and sniffling. It's gross. So anyway, after this is all done, and after he goes through all that interrogation and gets his gun and everything stripped from him, the pants are taken, the belt is left in the pants. Rocky Gregory opens the brown paper bag with his bare hand and drops it on the floor and just lets Daniel roll the pants up and put them in the bag, just drops them in the bag. And so, it's a poor way of evidence collection. If you, you guys all know that. I don't have to tell you guys that. You all know. What happens then? We really don't see. We do see Daniel get a phone call or he calls his girlfriend, Carrie, as he's leaving, and he's trying to explain to her, listen, I know, because Kim Davis, in all her weirdness, had called her twice, Daniel's girlfriend, twice, to ask her if she and Daniel had sex the night before, which is just the crudest thing and the crudest manner and the crudest way that you could possibly do something like that.
That's how Kim Davis does her business.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah, that's how she.
I'm sorry, I can only imagine, but I think my imagination is spot on with her.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, but you kind of wonder because you can hear him talking to Carrie on the phone as he's getting ready to leave. And he's, by this point, completely dumbfounded, pissed off, and knows that that something far different than what he thought was going to take place is going on.
Yep.
And so, crude Kim, yeah, that's exactly right, Liam. So you can hear Carrie on the other end, but it's really hard, or at least I've never been able to pick up what she's saying. But you can hear that she's on the other end saying something. I don't know, Kay, if you've ever known what she said or picked up on anything that she said or not, or.
I feel like she's super frustrated because she wants to know what's going on. And he says, I'm going to be home in like 15 minutes, like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes at the most. They're giving me a ride, and it's crazy. I'll have to explain to you when I get home. It's crazy. I love you. And you can hear that she doesn't say, I love you too.
Right.
And so he says it again, and then she does. And then they disconnect. But so then they give Daniel a ride home. And I think Rhonda's going to play a clip of Brian Bates' podcast, episode 4.
Yes.
Where he summarizes the chain of events that happen, not only with Daniel and what his actions are, but also what's going on back with the sex crimes unit as far as what they're doing to gear this investigation up.
Exactly. So we'll play part of that, and what you're going to hear is well, I think on this one, because I have several I'm going to share with you, but I think it's on this one that we'll hear a little bit of commentary first from Brian Bates, and then we'll go forward from there, and then you're going to hear the conversation that he has with Eric Holtzclaw, Daniel's dad. So here we go.
We talked to him for over 2 hours. Yeah, he was the most stoic, he was like interviewing a robot. It was very odd. I've never interviewed anybody like that. Usually, if I'm going to look at you and say, you put your penis down, you'd be like, what? Your voice would change, or, and be nothing. His voice never changed, no voice inflection. He never raised his eyebrows. He just, no, I didn't do it. He was like interviewing a robot. He's a sociopath.
I would argue that no rational person who isn't operating from the perspective of self-serving confirmation bias would ever describe Holtzclaw's attitude during his interrogation as robotic or as that of a sociopath. Regardless, as soon as Holtzclaw is driven home, he tries to explain the situation to his girlfriend, Carrie, and then also places a couple of telephone calls. First, to the Fraternal Order of Police, or FOP. They immediately assign an attorney to represent him. Holtzclaw next places a call to the one man he respects above all others, but also who he fears he may have let down the most, his father. As we mentioned in the last episode, Eric Holtzclaw is a career law enforcement officer and currently works as a lieutenant with another police department in Oklahoma. Here are some brief comments from Eric Holtzclaw regarding that telephone call.
I remember when this event first happened, when he first called me, I was at work, and he called me and says, "Hey, they just called me in about a complaint that they're taking." And I said, "Well, just tell them the truth." I mean, he had been questioned on other complaints that, like I said, the use of force once before, and it's just routine. He tells the truth, and they go on and they investigate it, and it would be unfounded. So that didn't alarm me initially. What alarmed me later on was to find out that they weren't doing an administrative investigation. They read him his rights right away. They didn't use the FOP or do any kind of administrative investigation or offer him, that I could see from the interview, offered him any kind of representation from the FOP or any of those things when I saw the video. But he was upfront honest because he just thought it was a routine interview. I think he was naive to the fact that they were looking into something much more serious than what he thought he was being called in for.
Did he contact you the day that he was interviewed by detectives?
Yeah, it was after, I think, he called me.
At that time, were you 100% convinced that Daniel was innocent?
Well, I knew he hadn't done anything. And at the initial thing, we weren't even sure what this was about. It was, I think he mentioned something that was about a traffic stop or what occurred at a traffic stop. And then later on, he told me that there's accusing me of this, some sort of sexual assault. And I knew that wasn't true, especially when he said it was done. The way he started describing it, I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. It's the middle of a street in his uniform in a traffic stop, and he's going to do this sexual assault, and lady's just going to go on her way. I said, this is just another bogus type of report. And he told me a little bit about what was going on in it, and I asked him, I said, what happened in this case? And he described, and he was telling me it's on his way home. It was not a big deal. He saw this and he said, I better do something because this person just swerved in my lane, and I'm going to stop and make sure this person's all right to go home. He didn't want a drunk driver to be out there and kill somebody. So he told me about what went on with it, and then so I wasn't really alarmed about that until more of these things that they leaked to the media and they came out and told later on when they made the arrest.
While Holtzclaw is now forced to simply sit back and wait, Detectives Davis and Gregory are on a mission. The next morning, when the detectives arrive to work, they are greeted by a small mountain of documents sitting on their desks that has already been collected on Holtzclaw. These documents cover every moment of Holtzclaw's last 3 years as an Oklahoma City police officer. Detectives Davis and Gregory, while sifting through all of these documents, begin to take note. Holtzclaw was hired by the department in September of 2011 and completed the OCPD Field Training Officer Program in August of 2012. That same month, he was assigned to the second shift within Spring Lake Patrol Division. In April of 2013, Holtzclaw successfully completed his probationary period. Barely a month later, Holtzclaw made the news when he, along with some other officers, were involved in an on-duty use of force incident resulting in the death of a 38-year-old male. The medical examiner ruled the death an accident attributed to excited syndrome due to methamphetamine toxicity. Holtzclaw was placed on administrative leave for 1 day. Holtzclaw's file also shows he has self-reported at least 19 use of force incidents. His personnel file also reflects one incident that he neglected to report that resulted in a letter being placed in his personnel file. That letter reads in part, quote, "Officer Holtzclaw is an enthusiastic police officer. He was very receptive to the verbal counseling. Signed, Lieutenant Bennett, Spring Lake Division, 2nd Shift. In May of 2013, he received a coveted temporary gang unit assignment. In September, he made the news again after a suspect at the Liberty Station apartment complex in northeast Oklahoma City resisted arrest, wrestled with him, and allegedly tried to take his service revolver. Remember that name, Liberty Station Apartments. A few days before Christmas 2013, Holtzclaw was one of just a handful of officers to be issued one of the few brand new, all-black Ford Police Interceptor take-home patrol cars. Yet, another sign Holtzclaw was seen as a standout police officer. He was involved in 2 incidents which caused damage to his patrol car. The first was in March of 2013 and was a result of debris in the roadway. The second was in October and involved Holtzclaw's patrol vehicle striking a bicyclist that pulled out in front of him. Both incidents were ruled non-preventable. According to Holtzclaw's police department application, his nickname growing up was The Claw, an abbreviated version of his last name. Holtzclaw's identifying marks are listed as 2 tattoos. The first on his upper left shoulder. It's a Bible verse, Philippians 4:13. Quote, "I can do all things through Christ, who gives me strength." The other tattoo, located on his upper right shoulder, is the Japanese symbol for work hard. Also in Holtzclaw's personnel file is a copy of his birth certificate. The youngest of 3 and the only son was born at the U.S. Naval Hospital in Guam on December 10, 1986. Holtzclaw lists his immediate family members as his father Eric, his mother Kamiko, and his sisters Julie and Jenny. Daniel has always been close to his parents and siblings, but he has no idea how much he will have to rely on them and to the extent they will show their love for him in the coming years. Holtzclaw's criminal history is listed as 2 self-disclosed incidents when he was only 7 years old. The first, when he stole a wallet from the BX, or Base Exchange store, and another incident when he stole candy from a convenience store. Holtzclaw graduated from high school in Enid, Oklahoma. He was the captain of his football team. Holtzclaw next attended college at Eastern Michigan University on a Division I-A football scholarship. While there, he played as starting middle linebacker in every game of his 4 years at college. Holtzclaw was a freshman All-American and top 5 in the nation in interceptions and held the NCAA record for tackles per season. Holtzclaw excelled at leadership and once again was captain of his football team. He graduated in 2010 with a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice. After graduation, Holtzclaw tried out for the NFL. That dream was not to be. Holtzclaw next pursued his second passion, to become a police officer and follow in both his father's and mother's footsteps. Holtzclaw wrote in his application to the Oklahoma City Police Department, quote, "I think being an Oklahoma City police officer would be a challenge, with numerous opportunities to specialize, as it is a very large department. I have always thought public service was very important to giving back to the community and protecting it. I have always lived ethically and tried to be a positive role model to others. I have the highest regard and respect for police officers and aspire to fill that role and make a career in this field." Signed, Daniel Holtzclaw. Detective Davis directs a colleague to telephone Eastern Michigan University and find out if they have ever had any complaints against Holtzclaw for inappropriate behavior. They have not. Detectives Davis and Gregory are not the only ones still actively following up on Ligons' complaint from the day before. Lieutenant Musney places a telephone call to Alan Salman with the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations. Musney briefs Salman on the complaint and tells him there is only one witness, security camera number 21 from the Surety Life Insurance at Northeast 50th and Lincoln Boulevard. Musney asks him to place a priority on trying to analyze the footage and clean it up. Detective Davis is also on the phone. She has been making arrangements with a member of the Secret Service to administer a polygraph test to Holtzclaw for 1 p.m. that very afternoon. Detective Davis next contacts Holtzclaw to let him know about the polygraph test she has just secured. Holtzclaw says he's now represented by FOP attorney Susan Knight and that Davis will have to have any further communications through her. Detective Davis knows that's going to be a problem. She knows that most criminal defense attorneys will not cooperate with the use of a polygraph test against their client. And she's right. When she gets Susan Knight on the phone, she tells Detective Davis that she will not allow Holtzclaw to be tested. Here's an interesting side note. Susan Knight is married to Oklahoma City Police Master Sergeant Gary Knight. Gary Knight served as the police department's public information officer during this time. Across town, OCPD crime scene technicians have returned to Holtzclaw's patrol car, now secured in the police department's evidence barn. They have been instructed to fluoresce the patrol car with an alternate light source to search for stains to be tested for evidence of sexual assault.
Okay. So we're going to end that right there.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
This his lawyer there that he got it first, this Susan McKnight, isn't that her name?
Susan Knight. Susan Knight, yeah.
She's married to a master, whatever the hell that's within the department.
PIO,
I'm sorry.
the public information officer.
I'm sorry.
Pillow talk?
I don't know. I just see a huge conflict. Maybe it's me.
Huh? You think they talk about this stuff?
No, come on, Kay. They
Oh,
wouldn't do that.
Come on.
He would be like, hey, baby, come here a minute. I got something I want to talk to you about. Chicka bow wow. And then
It's unbelievable, all of the connections, all of the familial connections within the Oklahoma City Police Department.
it sure is.
Yep. Yeah. So, that's just the very first conflict of interest that should have been recognized, and because the second one comes with, I think we've told you this before, when the crime lab analyst who does all of the forensic evidence in Daniel's case is the mother-in-law of one of the investigators, Rocky Gregory. So, but that was not a problem for Oklahoma. They saw nothing wrong with it. And well, I believe at trial or at some point, the state said that they didn't realize that there was, that they were related, but it didn't really matter anyway. So,
well, that was Kim's case. That's Kim's
yeah,
case.
yeah, because it was Kim's
so
case.
and we're not techno anyway, so it don't really matter.
God.
Exactly.
Okay.
She's never gonna live that shit down.
And she did that. She did that no shit that she did. So
Oh
gross.
yeah.
There
She's
you go.
gross.
That's nasty.
It is nasty.
She's disgusting.
We had to get the sound effect out there. We don't have the Discord to have. Wait, maybe I do. No, it probably wouldn't. It probably wouldn't play.
Why?
Let's
I
see.
don't think I
Let me
have
see.
it in my Discord.
You have to be signed. You have to be signed in to voice on Discord before you can use the soundboard.
Yeah,
and I'm not.
exactly.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's okay.
Well.
Oh well.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you have any other comments or questions, Jack?
No, I just thought it was important to point out that to me that's a gigantic conflict of interest. But hey, what the fuck do I know? I'm sorry. What the heck do I know?
You don't know anything.
I
You're
don't.
just a researcher.
So in the chat, can't remember who was asking, but they were asking about Carrie, if Carrie was standing by him. Because a lot of things started happening for Carrie once Daniel came home and explained to her what was going on. Of course, she stood behind him. That wasn't the Daniel that she knew. Their time had been spent basically working out. Their whole lives revolved around physical fitness. They were both training to compete. and weightlifting. And so this was just bizarre to her. But what happened was I think it's her stepsister who worked in the in the DA's office prosecuting sex crimes. And so they started talking to her and trying to get information out of her, just trying to get her to say anything that they could use against him. And they were really making it hard on her, trying to convince her that he was this serial rapist. But she did. I'm not sure when. I think they split up a couple of times. She did testify at trial, and I believe they got back together, and the final split came after he was in prison. Which, what kind of relationship can you have with a 263-year sentence? But it was always Daniel's hope that she would stay with him through his direct appeal, because, he believed that he would get a new trial at that point. He has always believed in the system. I don't think he does anymore, but after, getting slapped in the head at every turn. But back then, he believed that when he went into that interview and told the truth, they would take his version, they would check it out, and he would be exonerated of all of those, of Ligons' charges. He believed at trial that he would, the jury would see that he didn't do that. There wasn't any evidence. He didn't believe he would be convicted. Just, at every turn, he just got slapped in the head. So I can't exactly say when Carrie left, but she was here for this part.
All right. Let's see. TJ is saying he was gullible until he became a victim of the system like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, naive for sure.
Yeah, he was naive.
That's the way Damien Eccles was in West Memphis 3 too. He said that he was sure that they were going to see through all this BS and acquit him, but they didn't. But that's why he was so flippant, kind of sometimes, because waiting for the reality to strike everybody and let them go.
Yeah,
figured the truth was going to come out, and so I'm just going to be me, and the truth is going to come out, and people are going to see I'm not guilty, and piss off, fuckers, kind of attitude. I'm not saying that about Daniel, but Damien Eccles. So
but they used it, they used the story that basically he was a devil, he was a Satan worshiper, and like scare the community.
They really screwed Damien Eccles over. And I watched some of his, not to get too far off track here, but I watched some of his YouTube videos, and he's very intelligent, and very interesting to listen to in some of the videos that I've watched. So okay, so moving along, now when Jannie Ligons, in that first interview with Kim Davis, it might have been later the afternoon, because I know that the detectives, Kim Davis went over to her house a little bit later that day, after the morning, of the 18th, the actual daytime of the 18th, went over to collect her, to get her car. They wanted to get her car and do a forensic analysis on her vehicle and things like that. And I believe that I don't know why I heard this or read this or know this or think this, but um, uh, I'm going to get to that comment in just a second, Sticks Bass, because it's interesting. Um, but they went to get her car, and I somehow feel like I know that Kim Davis or whoever uh, encouraged Jannie Ligons not to go to the media, or her. It was either her or the cousin-in-law or the cousin who worked at Spring Lake. Gosh, I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name? Sheree or Kay? It was Carter.
Yeah, Johnny Carter, maybe, I'm not sure.
Johnny
Anthony Carter.
Anthony Carter. It was somebody anyway, advised her not to go to the media, let the investigation unfold and let us get some time figure out some things and before you do that. Well, Ligons couldn't wait. Ligons claims that she believed that they weren't doing anything. Stick base. I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying that. She claimed that she didn't believe that they were going to do anything to help, that they were going to just sweep it all under the rug and they were going to protect their own, and that it was just going to get ignored and left and nothing was ever going to be done. And so she decided to take matters into her own hands. Before I show you this, Stick Base, I don't know who you're talking about. You're talking about Eccles or Daniel. But I don't know about Eccles. And Oklahoma is predominantly a red state. I'll just tell you that. So Eccles, though, I don't know for sure at all what that situation was. So before I go to this next thing really quick, the Ron Jeremy comment. So over in Foul Place chat, Under Your Scars made a comment about Jeremy, and somebody was like, what? And then she said Ron, and then they were like, what? What? I don't get it. And then I was like, oh, Ron Jeremy. And so Under Your Scars clarified that by saying, by the way, the Ron Jeremy comment was about was referencing Jack's tune, his wow chicka wow wow.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so humor. Okay, so this is what Jannie Ligons did despite the suggestions that were given to her.
You begin tonight with some shocking allegations against an Oklahoma City police officer.
A woman says she was pulled over, frisked, and forced to perform oral sex during a traffic stop. She talked exclusively with Newsline crime tracker Adriana Ivashinsky, who joins us for the story now live. Adriana?
Kelly, Oklahoma City police confirmed they are investigating this claim and that an officer has been placed on administrative leave, but they are not releasing his name at this time. But this woman tells me she's just glad he's off the streets.
He just needs to be stopped. I don't want him doing this to nobody else. That's torture, for torture.
This woman agreed to talk with me as long as we protected her identity. She says she was driving home from a friend's house last Thursday around 2 a.m. when she was pulled over.
And as I passed 15 Lincoln, the lights changed. That's when he put his lights on. I say, what did I do?
The 57-year-old grandmother of 12 says she pulled over to the nearest side street right by these buildings. She says that officer told her to get out of her car and then frisked her. And there were security cameras all around.
So he patted me down. He didn't find anything.
She tells me the officer then told her to undress.
So I raised up my blouse. He wanted to raise up my bra. I did all that. He took his flashlight. He shined it on my chest.
She says he then forced her to perform oral sex while she was sitting in his squad car.
I said, oh, no, sir. I said, you ain't supposed to do this. I said, you ain't supposed to do this to me, sir.
This grandmother says a car even passed them during the incident.
He said, hurry up. He like, got off of duty. He said, I don't have all night.
She says the entire time she feared for her life.
I say, sir, no, I can't do this. He said, come on, just a minute. I say, sir, I can't do this. I said, you're going to shoot me.
She says the officer finally let her go, but says he followed her to her daughter's house and then took off. That's when she called police.
I thought he's gonna shoot me when I held my head down. That's what was going through my mind. I said, he's not gonna do this to me and let me go and let me live and tell this. I said, he's not. In my mind, he was gonna kill me.
Now, Oklahoma City police say they are taking this allegation very seriously and a criminal investigation is underway. Reporting live from police headquarters, Adriana Ivashinsky, News 9.
All right, Adriana. The woman says she came forward because she fears the officer may have done this to other women before. And she's encouraging them to come forward and file a report as well.
So Jannie Ligons had 2 family members that were law enforcement. She had Anthony Carter, who worked in Spring Lake Division, the same division Daniel worked in. And then the family member that actually tipped off the news so that they would contact Jannie Ligons was Johnny Crisp, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and that's a cousin. So that's who called Adriana, the reporter that you saw on that clip.
That's right. That's where the Johnny comes from, and that's where the cousin comes from.
Yeah.
I was trying to combine them all into one person. I forgot about the cousin.
Yeah, that's
that
okay.
cousin. So yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. So we've had conversation about that. Yeah, dropped. Well, so talking back, TJ's comment back here, getting money from a fake lawsuit for the civil suit. They did get an award. They did drop Daniel from their civil lawsuit. But they didn't get very much money. And I know I've mentioned this before in previous podcasts, but they only got $166,800. That was it. That was the total amount of money that they got from Oklahoma City, and they had to share that between 9 of them. So doing my math that I'm so great at now, I estimate that I got in a figure, if the attorneys charged 45%, which is usually the maximum, which is what I did my math on based on 45%, they only got $12,850 or something like that each, which to them, like Kay has mentioned before, was probably a lot of money, based on their lifestyles and stuff. But, so, but still, the millions that I think that they were being told they would be able to get from the detectives for testifying, I think they were probably quite surprised that they didn't get that. So, okay. Moving along. Now we're going to kind of step back to Terry Morris a little bit, because again, we believe that there's a direct correlation that the detectives made, the detectives and Musney and, all of the higher ups in sex crimes, they made this connection with Terry Morris so that they could make her an accuser way before Jannie Ligons. So we will play some of that. Let me ask if there's any questions from anybody in any of the chats. Any questions or comments that you'd like us to address right now? Liam. Yeah. And and it could very well be. I know that some of the accusers have had some struggles since all of this, and some back in prison or jail or arrested for this or that, or they've had lots of law enforcement contact since the trial. Some of them, I shouldn't say lots and all, but some of them have. But we're going to go back and play some of the what's it called, Kay? Video interviews. Gosh, I couldn't think of what it was, that Rocky Gregory did with Terry Morris again, because after he talked to her, no, they didn't have supersized then, TJ. They only had regular. But after he spoke with her the first time and she claimed she didn't want to be a part of this and she signed the refusal to prosecute, um, he said, no, 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 we got to go out. We got to, there's more to this, and we got to go out and get more information from you, from Terry Morris. So she says she doesn't want to be involved. She signed the form saying she doesn't want to be involved, but Rocky and the rest of the detectives and the rest of the people in sex crimes, they weren't ready to give up because they needed her, like I said. So here's what Brian Bates shares about that.
Before you play that real quick. Okay, so this is the second interview of Terry Morris. The first interview was on June 3rd, 15 days before the Jannie Ligons traffic stop. And it was at that time when she said she didn't want to pursue it. She just wanted him to leave her alone. And she signs the decline to prosecute form. She goes on her way. Now, they've interviewed Daniel. They got his side of the story. They have his car. They're processing it at this moment in the timeline where we are. And I think they already know that some things aren't adding up with Terry's story, or I'm sorry, with Jannie Ligons' story. For one, they're not finding handprints on the top of the car. So some of the things that are exculpatory for Daniel, they're seeing, and they're realizing we're not going to be able to pursue charges against Ligons unless her same kit comes back with his DNA in her mouth, which all of you who have watched Dr. Silkman's analysis of the DNA in this case know that that absolutely is not going to be happening. And we actually don't know how long they actually had the results before they disclosed the results, because they're sure scrambling to find Terry Morris and to convince her to become a part of this case. Without her, this whole thing goes away. And then what? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in that time period, summer 2014, when everything is crazy? The racial tensions were high. Crazy things were happening all over the United States with violence on Black citizens. And so they decide we have got to track her down again. And so this is June 24th.
24th, I believe, or 23rd, 24th or 23rd. Yeah.
Well, okay. So
24th. It was the 24th.
In the timeline before we get to this second interview, just so you guys know, on June 20th, the sex crime supervisor, Lieutenant Timothy Musney, creates a profile of women for the detectives to begin interviewing. And he pulls a list of Black females with a history of drug addiction and prostitution that Daniel has made contact with, and that they have AVL records, GPS records of Daniel stopping these women, so that they know they can place him out with these women. So that happens on the 20th. And then on the 23rd, the news story that we just heard, Ligons goes to the media. And the very next day, they get the confidential informant to track Terry Morris down again, and they're going to try to get her to identify Holtzclaw in a photo lineup. And that's what we're getting ready to hear. Her second interview, June 24th.
Okay.
Fast forward now to June 18th and the Ligons traffic stop and subsequent interrogation of Holtzclaw. You'll recall during the interrogation, Detective Gregory asked if he had any recollection of stopping someone named Terry Morris during the city rescue mission in downtown Oklahoma City and then giving them a ride. Daniel said he did not recall that name, but was certain he's never patrolled that area and never given someone a ride to or from the city rescue mission. After the interrogation, Detective Gregory decided he needed to contact Terry Morris again. And once again, C.I. Cal was able to locate Morris and contact the police who detained Morris for Detective Gregory. Not to be too cynical, but what Detective Gregory claims happens next is like straight out of a script of a low-budget cop movie. According to Detective Gregory, the moment Morris sees him walking up to her, she exclaims, quote, "He did it again, didn't he?" Cue the dramatic music and insert the eye rolls. I don't mean to be sarcastic here, and it may seem out of place, but trust me, I'll be getting into a plethora of provable lies by Detective Gregory in the coming episodes. Needless to say, and conveniently enough, that comment was not recorded. According to Detective Gregory, Morris was willing to cooperate in looking at a photo lineup and discussing details of the case, but that she didn't want to be taken back to police headquarters. Detective Gregory had Detective Daniel Higginbottom show Morris the photo lineup and note her response. The following is an edited version of the audio from that photo lineup conducted with Terry Morris.
This is Detective Gregory. I'm here with Terry Morris at Northeast 21st and Kelly. It's June 24th, 14, and it's 6:32 p.m. Met with Terry. She said that she would do a photo lineup. Terry, this is Detective Higginbottom, okay? Yeah. And he's going to speak with you, and I'm going to step on out of here, okay? Okay.
Don't leave me, please.
Okay. I'm just going to step right over there, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Terry, how you doing? I'm fine. All right. Can you hear me just fine? Yes, sir. Okay. All right, Terry, in a moment, you'll be shown a series of photographs in random order. This series may or may not contain a photograph of the individual who committed the crime being investigated. You do not have to identify anyone. The person showing you the photographs does not know the photographic identity of the suspect. While looking at the photographs, keep in mind hairstyles, facial hair, clothing, etc. are subject to change. Also, photographs do not always accurately depict a person's complexion. It may be darker or lighter than it appears in the photograph. Also, disregard any differences in the shape, size, type, quality, or color in the photographs or the paper on which they are printed. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's okay. You should study only the person depicted in each photograph. Please do not speak to anyone other than the administrator while viewing the photographs. You must make your own decision and not be influenced by any other person. Yes. As you look at each photograph. If you see someone you recognize, please tell the administrator how you know the person. If you see a person you believe committed the crime, state in your own words how sure you are of the identification. Okay, please do not indicate in any way or other witnesses you have or have not made an identification. Okay, I've read or been advised of the above instructions and I fully understand them. Yes, sir. Okay, let you sign right there. And today's date, it's the June 24th, 6:24. You're right. Okay, and it is approximately 6:37. You okay? Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's him. Okay. I think. Okay, well, I've got several photographs to show you. So I'm not really sure. Here's the first one. No, it's not him. No, I'm not
that could be him.
Okay.
See, that confused me. No, it's not him. No, not him. No.
No.
It's none of them
Okay.
two.
Well, let's go through it again.
I wonder if it's. I'm not really sure. It may not be.
Okay, we'll start with this one.
I don't think it's him.
No. Okay.
Hold on. Oh, man. I'm confused.
Yes or no?
No. Could be.
Could be. Don't know.
No.
No.
No. No.
No. Okay.
Could be.
Could be. Don't know.
I just don't know.
Don't know. Okay.
It's like out of two.
Do what?
It's out of two pictures.
I can't hear you.
I said it's kind of out of two pictures that it could be.
Out of two pictures, which two are those?
This one and that one.
These two?
Yeah. But can I see? I don't remember that.
Okay.
Let me see.
Well, if you don't remember, you don't remember. Okay? Not putting any pressure on you at all. You want to make a decision on one?
No, because I'm
No?
not positive.
Not positive? Okay. Just one of those two.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? What do you tell me again?
I'm going to see that one. I'm not real sure.
Okay. That's your
It could
final
be
answer?
It could be that one or that one.
Okay. That's your final answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, real dark. That's fake.
Okay. We'll go ahead and conclude the interview at this time, okay?
While you're able to get a feel for how a photo lineup
Sorry about that. My whatchamacallit screen that annoys the hell out of me got in the way. Okay, so that was the photo lineup that that she went through, and she, well, you can tell that she's not, well, I shouldn't say you can tell. It appears to me, or it seems to me, that she's still not quite, I don't know what the word is, clear-minded, I guess, is the best way to say it.
She's on full crack.
Yeah, she's full on high. I mean,
Full crack, not half crack.
yeah, not half crack, full crack, full crack mode.
She picks out two officers, and interestingly enough, so when this happened, when she did this excited utterance in the 911 call saying you called the same motherfuckers that raped me, and they'd started an investigation to see, the first thing they did was they looked to see which officers had contact with her last. Like, any officer that's going to rape someone is going to call them in first. So they look at Daniel Holtzclaw, who had contact with her on May 8th and called her in. And then they looked at Jeff Sellers, who had contact with her on April 14th. So they've cleared these two officers already at this point in the investigation. And who she has selected out of this photo lineup is the last officer who pulled her over, Daniel Holtzclaw, and another officer, Jeff Dutton, who has dark hair, but I don't know. Do you guys think he looks like Daniel? Other than they're young and both have dark hair?
I don't, but I think I think I made a side by side of those two. While you're talking, I'll see if I can find it and display it for everyone.
But so Gregory intentionally leaves Jeff Sellers out of that lineup, which is interesting to me. And then we've talked about this before. Jeff Sellers has kind of a relevant past as far as he had been fired from the department as part of an internal affairs investigation that determined that he had had sex with at least one prostitute while in uniform and on duty. He did end up getting his job back through arbitration. So as far as I know, he's still working for the Oklahoma City Police Department. But you would think that Gregory would have found that concerning.
Well,
He didn't.
If he were being honest and not trying to frame somebody, but he was. So, okay, here it is. I do have a side by side of Jeff Sellers and Daniel. It's not very big, but let me try to share it with you if I can. Let's see here. Let's see, this is a different window. Okay. So this is the picture, a side by side of, it's really, it's not very big, but this is the side by side that I made of Daniel and Jeff Dutton, not to be confused with Jeff Sellers. Jeff Sellers, I also have a picture of him, but these are the two that Terry Morris had said it was between one of these two. So just give you guys a frame of reference of what he looked like.
So this interview, so they've concluded the photo lineup part, and now the interview continues with Rocky Gregory just trying to talk to Terry and trying to convince her to become a part of the case. Rhonda, that starts at 40:29 according to the transcript I have.
Oh, okay. You put 39:46 in our outline.
This is like the second half of the first interview. So I'm sorry, this is the second part of her second interview that we have just been listening to. I think that other one is the third interview.
Hang on, I got to close some other stuff here that got in my way.
So episode 5 at 40:29.
Oh, I don't have that for episode 5. I
think we just didn't realize it got broken up into 2 parts and there was some commentary in the middle. Okay. I'm just seeing that on the transcript right now.
Okay,
because Higginbottom finishes up with her, and then remember Rocky talks to her again.
Yeah.
And she ends up walking away telling him that's bullshit or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, let me get that.
Try to interview her. The following is some edited audio from that interview.
Here again. I'd like for you to just answer a couple questions for me. Okay? Can you just run down through the story one more time?
It's like I told the story like 1,000.
Okay. But I'm trying to catch it here. Okay? So I don't have to keep bothering you.
Well, I'm starting on my way back to the rescue. Because I don't really know my way downtown. I very well know standing to the rescue mission. I have to come to the east side that day.
Okay.
And the police car pulled up on me. Yeah, stopped. Asked me my name, all that familiar stuff. Took my purse, searched it. Then put me in the car while he run the check. I didn't have no warrants or nothing. Then, I had a pipe though. And he said, I could take you to jail for this, you know. And I was like, oh man. Because I relapsed because my boyfriend cheated on me.
And you what?
My boyfriend cheated on me. We was kind of breaking up.
All right, you found the pipe. Then what?
Yeah. And so he just kept kind of messing with it, playing with it in the front. Then he got out. And I was sitting there like I'm sitting. He opened the door and he asked me, told me to unzip my pants. He's unzipping, he said, you got any panties on? He told me to raise my shirt up. Then he told me to give him
Did
some.
you raise your shirt up?
Yeah.
Did he ask you to raise it so he could see your breasts?
He didn't say that, he just said raise your shirt up.
Okay.
And he wanted me under my pants, and I was like, what? So I know it wasn't right. Then he asked me for some oral sex.
How did he ask that?
I can't. He said he'll give me some head. I won't take you to jail or something. He was saying.
Okay.
I said, take me to jail for a fight. I said, he throw them things away and break them.
Then what?
Then I just kind of got quiet and I cried and I asked him, please don't do that. Make me do it. And he said, yeah, just do it for a couple of minutes. All right. Then he would leave me alone, he said. So I did.
Did he take it out through a zipper?
I don't know. It was already. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even see
How
it.
long did he have it?
Probably about a couple of minutes.
A couple minutes?
Then he wanted me to do it again. It's like, then he said, you know, you can't tell anybody about this thing or something. And so I just want to get back to the mission. I just want to go back to the rescue mission. I'm just trying to find my way. And he says, you want to ride? I said, no, I can walk it. And I got out, I was going to make a step, and he said, no, I don't want nothing bad to happen to you, so get back in the car. So I got back in the car, and I was like, I can walk, I'll find it. And then he pulled somewhere where he started going another route. And I seen it once, and I was like, hey, that's the place right there. He said, yeah, he was going to go around or something.
The place meaning the rescue mission?
Yeah. He said he was going to go around because he would have hugged. I said, this ain't the right way. And he said, and then he kind of pulled somewhere, not that far. It wasn't far.
Did you stay at the mission that night?
No. I left. I was traumatized still now. It freaked me out.
Now you said it was a car like this one, the older police car?
Yeah.
Okay. Describe him one more time. You know this is important.
I know my
How tall?
eyes.
How tall do you think he is?
About 6'1", maybe 6'2", 6 feet, anywhere.
Okay. What color hair?
Dark brown, black.
Okay. And was he clean shaven?
Yeah.
What do you think he'd weigh?
Oh, I'm not good with weight like
Okay.
that.
I'm 6 foot and I weigh 220.
Okay, I'd say maybe 260, 270. I don't know.
Okay. All right. And he was what race?
Heck, I think he was white. Maybe it's an Indian and Irish or something. Because his skin complexion was like, like a dark color.
It was darker? Okay.
Like, he's white, but it's like, I don't know.
Did you see his eyes?
I can't remember.
Can't remember. Okay.
I wanted to say it was blue, but I cannot remember.
You see any scars, marks, or tattoos?
No.
Okay. And was he thin or
No, he was like solid muscular, like.
solid muscular?
Yeah.
Okay. And had he ever stopped you before?
I really don't know. So many police just stopped me.
Do you think he ran you that day?
Huh?
You think he checked you for warrants?
Who?
This officer.
When?
The day that it happened? Do you think he...
Well, I don't know. He was up there doing something on the thing, but I didn't hear nobody.
What thing? Like the computer like that?
Yeah, but I never heard nobody get back with him. Oh, I think, no, he did because they said it was clear.
Did you hear a radio?
I think so. I'm getting confused
It's
now.
I don't want to
Sure, I
confuse
need
you.
my medicine now.
Do you remember him calling out your name, like to a dispatch?
He said, no, I don't know. It was a mosquito. I don't think he said my name. I'm not really sure.
Do you think the computer was on?
No, I was just scared to death.
You don't know.
I think it was.
So you think you gave him head for 2 minutes?
I don't know. Too much. I don't know.
Did he have his hands on you while you were doing this?
No.
No?
I don't know. I can't remember. Everybody's trying to jump a lot of. Ask some hard questions. I can't remember. My memory's not that great. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Is there anything that you can think of that I didn't ask?
Yeah, the uniform like that.
Like mine?
Look like not damn strand of hair didn't look like it was out of place.
Do what?
It didn't look like none of his hair was out of place.
Did he have a part in his hair?
Yeah.
You're showing your left side, is that right?
Well, I don't know which side being apart.
How old do you think he was?
Maybe, I don't know, 30s, 40s. I don't know, 50.
And what time of day do you think this happened?
Maybe, I don't know, about 6, 7, 8. It was dark.
Was it in the morning? Or was it in the afternoon?
No, it was dark. It was evening. It was dark. It wasn't late. But it was the beginning. It started getting dark. It just got dark. Hadn't been dark that long.
So you're not for sure on the time? Now, before you thought it was at the end of May 20th, 21st. Is that still?
Yeah.
That still sounds right? Like just a couple of days before you talk with the officers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you interested in going forward with this? You sure?
Yeah.
You know I want you to, because I told you about it.
Yes, sir, I know. I don't want to be involved no more. That's all I can do. I just want to put it behind me. I want to put it behind me, get out of my system.
Hang on one second. I need to ask. You don't know a Jannie?
Jannie? Oh, not Jannie.
Do you know a Jannie Ligons?
No.
Black female, about 57 years old.
No, no.
Okay. Now you're still saying a couple blocks from the mission.
Yes.
I know I keep covering it, but you know that there's a reason. Do you know which direction?
No, because I didn't even know my way around downtown, period.
Did he ever touch your breast?
Yeah, he just told me to raise it.
How far did you raise it?
I raised it all the way up like he told me.
So did your boobs come out?
Yeah.
What do you do when you...
Nothing. My please go.
Okay. I'm not going to keep you. You understand why I'm asking all these questions?
I'm asking no more questions. That's a lot.
You got my phone number, right?
Oh, no. I need it again.
Okay. Hey, don't be running on off. Hang on. I know you're rip-roaring ready, grabbing your purse and ready to run. Got a F5 card. Now, you remember my name, Detective Gregory.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Even if you lose this, no, I work at Sex Crimes, Oklahoma City. And all you got to do is just call downtown if you think of anything that would be helpful. Okay.
We've now heard this very detailed version from Terry Morris numerous.
Right. We've heard it numerous times. She told it to 2 officers who responded to the 911 call at the Valero gas station on May 24th. And then a supervisor shows up, Lieutenant Holland, and she tells her the same story. So she tells it identical story 3 times the night of the 911 call. And then when Gregory has her hunted down and brought into the station on June 3rd, under the guise that she's signing a decline to prosecute form, he makes her tell the story again. So she's told it 4 times, and this is 5 times. Same story. Problems. Yeah, problems. one is the car that she's pointing out, and she's not just saying, hey, it was a black and white car. She's pointing to the car, saying it's a car just like that one, which is the older model 2010 Crown Victoria. That is not the car that Daniel drove. So if that's the car the officer was driving who assaulted her, and I'm inclined to believe that she may have really been assaulted on the 20th or 24th near the city rescue mission. Her story just keeps, I mean, she's remembering the details of this. The other thing is, as far as the investigation went, there was no officer that called her in on that day. So if maybe she heard radio traffic and she's confused about that, I don't get the feeling that she was ever sure that he called her in. I know she does say, I came back clear or whatever, but I'm not convinced that she was sure about that. What else? I mean, of course, her description of the person doesn't look good. That sounds like Daniel's description, except for the part in the head and the hair. Her really kind of being unable to, other than saying that he's white, but he's dark complected, which Daniel's not dark complected. But she's got the height and the weight spot on. Is there something I'm leaving out?
No, I don't think so. Taking TJ's advice that I always forget about. There, I was able to blow up the pictures a little bit. Thank you, TJ. I always forget about that, how easy it is to do that. I never do it because I always forget. But this one is, oh, you can't see what I'm doing. The one on the left is Jeff Dutton, and the one on the right is Daniel. And you can see he doesn't have a part in his hair.
Neither of them do.
Neither of them do. You know, to ask if she saw the color of his eyes. I mean, it's, you know, late at night when she says this happened. Of course, she's not going to see a color of eyes.
No.
Well, she also said, well, it was 6 or 7. It was dark.
It was dark.
It was dark.
Yeah.
It was like, wasn't it way later than that? Well, way later than just dark? Wasn't it like way up in? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I believe it was actually, well, there was no police officer stopped her on either of those nights that she, you know, or at least there was no record of it via AVL or whatever.
Which is what you would expect if someone's going to rape someone.
Right.
You're not going to call them in like all these other accusers Daniel called in.
It's like Jannie Ligons. Jannie Ligons is claiming they stopped beside the road and she got, you know, she gave him a 2-minute blowjob out beside a busy road. Are you kidding me?
With how many cars did we see drive by that?
Right, and his lights are on, so it's going to draw. Everybody's going to look. You know that. It's ludicrous.
It really is. But what's more upsetting is what he's doing to her, because he realizes he needs her to become a part of this case. He is using a homeless woman who has serious mental health and substance abuse problems. She's already demonstrated to him that she doesn't want to be involved in it. She didn't even come forward to report it. He tracked her down and you know, pulls her in there under the false pretense that that's the only way she can sign a decline to prosecute. You know, and I don't know, why did he do that back on June 3rd? The Ligons stop hadn't happened yet. What do they do? Just keep a queue of women that in case they want to build a serial whatever case, they have a supply of women that they can lump together. I think when we look back at a case that Detective Kim Davis did with her old partner, I think that's exactly what they were doing in that case. And what happened was her partner committed suicide the morning that he was supposed to testify, I believe it was, in that case. And he left a note.
Yes.
He left a suicide note that disappeared. We don't
In
know
the
what that note
office.
said. Yeah, in the sex crimes office, he committed suicide at his desk.
And I
So
believe it was the morning of the trial when he was supposed to testify, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that was my understanding. I think we have that back in the timeline. We could
Yeah.
go back and look at that probably in another episode, but
Yeah.
because we still have one more, we have a final interview. So I think back to the timeline, slide number 101. Let's see. Yeah, we're at 101 in the timeline. They've just interviewed her a second time. And then the next day, is it the next day? Oh, no. July 1st, Kim Davis goes to Daniel's girlfriend's work to interview her and collect her DNA. So that's July 1st. And then magically on July 3rd, Terry Morris gets arrested. And so she's up in the Oklahoma County Jail. She gets arrested on some bogus trespassing charge, which is interesting when we listen to this final interview. She brings this up and she's talking about, she was at the Veterans Center or whatever because a friend of hers owed her some money. And she's trying to work it through it in her brain why she got arrested. I think they were setting her up so they could arrest her so that she would be in a more vulnerable place, because 2 tries at trying to get her to press charges, and she won't. I think Gregory thought if he went back out and got her for that second interview, he could talk her into becoming a part of this case. That didn't happen. She's walked away. Now, July 3rd, she's arrested. She's in the Oklahoma County Jail. And then July 10th, Lieutenant Musney and Detective Gregory go up to the jail, and you will hear when this interview starts that she's on the other side of the room. She's finishing recalling her story that they've already obviously been over before they turn the recorder on. So Gregory steps away from her and Lieutenant Musney. He walks across the room to set up the recording of where they are and who's there and whatever. And he's going to get Terry to just go into the story, but she throws him a curveball and lets everyone know, hey, she's already been through this story.
Yeah.
I just need to do it again. So we're hearing her tell the story that they needed her to tell.
And you'll want to pay close attention because you can hear the frustration in Rocky Gregory's voice. He gets very frustrated with her. And so it gets you can hear the frustration and the annoyance in his voice with her. Mark McPherson, I haven't seen you before in the chat. If you have been here before, I apologize for not recognizing your name. If you haven't, welcome. This is a question. Why did they frame Daniel? What's the motive? We've talked about it multiple times about some of our theories. I'll just kind of give you a nutshell version of what some of us believe, what I believe, and it has a lot to do with the atmosphere at the time in Oklahoma City and in the country for that matter, with trying to, and I believe that they were trying to protect their brand new city that they had just were working on and had beautifying Oklahoma City from what it was back in the 80s and 90s even, to what they had built it into, which I understand was well, from those who live in Oklahoma and around Oklahoma City, um, it was very beautiful. They had done a great amount of work. It was a whole new city, and they were afraid of having any kind of racial violence coming to their city and burning it down and tearing it down. And that's just one possible part of it. Here they've got a black woman claiming that she was sexually assaulted by a what they call a white cop, even though he's not technically white. They think, oh, man, we got to get ahead. We got to get ahead of this so that we don't have the same problems that they've had around the country. And it's a possibility. Bill City, I'm guessing, Mark, that you're from Oklahoma County or something. Maybe you don't want to say, but you're saying the name of Bill City, so it makes me think you're familiar with the area. And it's possible that he maybe not necessarily put them up to it, but said, yep, get this guy. No matter what it takes, get him. And yeah, that's the same as putting him up to it, I guess. But so there's some theories, different ideas and all of the ideas and theories could all go together. You're very familiar with the case. Okay, well, good.
We're really open to hearing what other people think the motive
Absolutely.
might be, because it took a long time for me to figure that one out. And it's really the only thing that makes sense to me. So, I mean, I would love to hear what other people think who are familiar with Oklahoma City
Yeah.
and the corruption in Oklahoma City Police Department and beyond.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're very open-minded here. There's no, if you have a idea or a theory or a question or a comment, we definitely are open to hearing it. So, and as long as respect is given, respect is returned. So that's the only thing. Everybody just, instead of calling names, not that you did, but I just got called a racist today in a comment on one of my other videos. So I'm like, don't call me racist. So, but anyway,
Yeah,
we would love
definitely.
to hear. What's that?
He's saying sacrificial lamb,
Yes.
definitely a sacrificial lamb. I mean,
Yes.
that was the easiest solution to this problem, was to sacrifice Daniel.
Sacrifice
And
him.
people say, oh, they set him up. No, I mean, he did a really stupid thing by being in the habit of turning his onboard computer off after he clocked out on his way home. He didn't commonly make after hours traffic stops. It was really dumb of him to make this stop and not turn his computer back on, not contact headquarters at all. It looked bad. It looked even worse that his computer was off. I mean, it would have been bad enough if he had called her in and then she made these allegations anyway. Maybe they wouldn't have sacrificed him at that point. But I think what they were thinking is, oh my God, here we go. Here's this gung-ho cop. He's done a stint with the gang unit. you're gonna have use of force complaints or self-reporting use of force when you deal with people of that caliber, because they don't just, when you need to take someone like that into custody, they don't commonly just cooperate. So, there usually is some sort of use of force involved in that. That's all going to come out. The media is going to go crazy with this. When the public hears use of force, they're not even going to have an open mind to hear the details of it. They're going to think, oh, here's a department that just is protecting him. And they already had he was called to assist with Clifton Armstrong, who was, we've gone over this in another podcast, but this is a guy that ends up dying when they're taking him into custody. And Daniel was on that call. And so I think they were just having this, cascade of thoughts of all these things that are going to come out in the news investigation that are going to make them look bad, and riots will ensue. And so, they just decided to sacrifice him, in my opinion. Long explanation, but that's what I do.
I'd rather it be you than me, because I'm the one that's got to tell every little detail before I get to the story that I'm trying to tell. So, Mark, we would love to hear more from you. I'm going to have one of the mods are going to drop a link to, I have a Discord. It's still kind of in its infancy, but it's starting to pick up speed a little bit lately. And so I would love to have you join the Discord and see if we can get more activity going there. And maybe you can share some things. Since you said you're very familiar with the case, we would love to hear what you have to say as well. Let's see. T1 says, by the way, welcome T1. It's been a long time. We haven't seen you. But thank you for being here. So he says they knew they had a serial rapist cop to ignite the powder keg of racial tensions, but that cop was one of them, not Daniel Holtzclaw. I don't know if it's possible that there was a serial rapist. I mean, we know that, who was a cop, but the thing is that I don't think that the women, the accusers who accused him, I don't believe that any of them, with the exception of Terry Morris and possibly Sherry Ellis, I don't believe the others were ever sexually assaulted by a police officer. I believe they were all fed information for that.
And
so,
if Sherry Ellis was truly raped, it was by a black officer who was shorter than she. So, that's not matching up to Terry Morris's rapist.
Yeah. So, I mean, and lots of people believe that, though, T1, that there was a serial rapist cop. But, it wasn't Daniel by any stretch, in my opinion. In our opinion, I know this for a fact. I believe it 100% that he was not a part of any crime like that at all, or any crime at all, except for turning off his damn computer and friending somebody on Facebook that he had law enforcement contact with. So, Mark, if you're interested in the Discord, please feel free to join it. I think there's a link. Jack, I think, has dropped a link there that you can join, and we'd love to have you. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Back, we're gonna play now for you the second half, because the first half wasn't recorded. We're gonna play the third interview of Rockhead Gregory and Terry Morris when she had been in jail for a week already. She was clean. Nobody, TJ, nobody called me a racist in a chat. They put it in one of the videos. I want to say it's the one that we did with Dr. Silkman. The whole video with Dr. Silkman, I think, is what it was. And they just put it in the comment section. And he didn't call me a racist. He just told me, I bet if Daniel Holtzclaw was black, I bet you wouldn't give a damn if Daniel Holtzclaw was a black cop, and it pissed me off. You can call me anything you want to call me. I don't even care. But to call me a racist is the most offensive thing. So I kind of went off on him after I thanked him for commenting. Anyway. So we're going to play this. This is a little bit lengthy, but I really want you guys to try to pay attention to it. There's also another name I'm not sure if I've seen in our chat before, but I welcome Roberto Tirado. He says, I really feel that the defense team was inept and weak. I feel that the defense team was ill prepared. It was just too much. It's almost impossible to try 13 trials in one trial. And he basically worked alone. So, I don't envy Scott Adams' position at all in working in this case. Anyway, so this is a little lengthy, but try to pay attention. Pay attention to Rocky Gregory and how annoyed and how irritated he gets with Terry Morris. And she's much clearer. You'll be able to hear her much better than you've been able to hear her in the other interviews, because she's had that week to clean up in jail. So here we go with this.
This is Detective Gregory with Luke Usney. We're here with Terry Morris. She had been placed under arrest. She advised she did want to talk to us a little bit more. Is that correct, Terry?
That's it. That's all I wanted to.
Okay. Terry,
I was thinking about that last night.
Okay. You said you had some more information.
That's all.
So tell me again so I can take some notes.
That the location I gave you was wrong.
Why did you give us a wrong location?
Because I didn't want my boyfriend to be wondering why I was over there by Liberty.
Why was you over there by Liberty?
Because I was getting high. Well, I had been done getting high, but I was leaving on my way home though. When I got out the gate, as soon as I stepped out of the gate, he called me by my nickname, like he already knew me or something. He says, the police, he said TT. He called me TT. That's what people on the streets call.
Right, I know.
And he said, is there anything in your purse, sharp or something? He said, you know what y'all say. Is it sharp, something I could cut myself on? And I said, no. I said, I have a crack pipe. That, trying to be honest, because I thought he was an honest cop.
Right.
And so he told me to get in a car, and then he pulled. Liberty is like on 26. If you come down the one street, it's on 26.
Right.
And then he went up Lindsay to 24th, because Liberty is on 26 in Lindsay. He went up to 24th and Lindsay, and there's some more apartments right down the street from the welfare office and back to the welfare office. Not the new apartments. They got a big gate around them. I forget the name of them.
They're at Liberty.
No, 2 blocks past Liberty, it's a bunch of apartments. Like, this is Liberty, then it's another apartment, then it's some more apartments, and then it's some more apartments with a gate around, an iron black gate.
Okay. What did he do? Okay, so he stops you there at Liberty.
Yeah, and pulls me around there, and he don't pull it directly in front of the apartments, but he pulls like right before you get in front of them, like, but you in front of the apartments, but you're not directly in front of them. Where he pulled where nobody can see us. Nobody can see who he has in the car. They can probably see his car, but they can't see who he have in the car. See what he's doing. And I was sitting there in the back. He said he was running a check on me. But I said, well, I don't got no warrants or nothing. And I guess I don't know if he ran the check or for real ran the check or not, but then he just kept twirling my pipe around, looking at it, when he was playing with it, like twiddling it around, looking at it. Then he said, he got out the car, opened the door. I was sitting just like this in the back seat. He opened the door and he said, unzip your pants.
And now the way you had your position, you were just sitting there like in a normal way.
Yeah, in the normal sitting position.
Keep going.
And he like this the door, he was standing up, and I'm sitting there. And I thought he was gonna, let me get out, but he says, open your pants. I said, open my pants. He said, unzip your pants. I said, unzip my pants. And then he told me to raise up my shirt. He asked me, did I have panties on and everything? And then he said, he asked me to give him some oral sex. He didn't say that though. I want to say he said a blowjob. And I was like, what? He was like, oh, come on, just for 2 minutes. And I was like, I really felt like I had no choice. And then I was like, I don't want to do this. And he said, oh, come on. But I've been trying to figure out how he knew my name all along. Like somebody told him. Like, that's TT.
Okay, I want to back you up just a little bit, okay? Before you told me about he was headed down to the mission, so that's not true.
No,
And you didn't leave a rehab center.
Yeah, I was at the rehab. I did relapse on the rehab.
Where was you walking from?
When I seen him, out of Liberty.
Out of Liberty.
But he had just pulled out of Liberty too, messing with people. He had seen me standing on the porch. He had never even messed with me. It's like as soon as I left out of Liberty, he left out of Liberty.
On what day?
I don't remember. Mr. Williams, I don't remember all that.
Well, it's okay. You've always said the 20th or 21st.
It's got probably around, but yeah, probably then I probably remember. I don't remember now. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you don't know, but it was. Do you know if it was a few days before you told your boyfriend and the police about the rape?
Yeah, it was some days before then. It was.
You don't know how many days.
I wanted to say it was about probably about 8 days.
But you had been getting high during that time.
Well, I relapsed even worse when he did that.
Okay. Now tell me, what time of day was this?
It was evening. It was dark outside. It wasn't late though. It was like early evening, but it was just getting dark.
Okay. Now
I want to say it was about 8 or 9.
Okay. Now
I don't really know.
Tell me this.
I'm getting all confused again.
No, hey, you're doing fine. You're doing fine, okay?
Cause I can't think of all that stuff no more.
How can you drink pot?
I can't remember all that stuff. It's like jumbled up in my head anymore.
Now, I didn't know if you like Dr. Pepper or Coke. I thought that was okay. You like Coke?
Dr. Pepper is my favorite, but I like all pop.
Oh, well, that'll work. That'll work.
Remember, Coke's the real thing.
Pepsi is.
So you want to get a part of a rehab center, huh?
Yeah, I want to get back into treatment.
Well, you said this is about the clearest of mind I've seen you. I mean, you seemed a lot better since you've been.
Well, they got me in here on trespassing because my friend Matthew lied on me and told me, because he'd been owing me some money for 2 months. My friend Matthew been owing me some money for going to get this girl Crystal in Liberty because she moved apartments. And I don't know what they got going, but he said he had a job for her.
Okay. Well, and that's okay.
But so he told me if I wanted to get my little money, I had to go with him to the
Okay.
VA to get his traveler's
It's okay.
pay.
Look, you said you just wanted part of your rehab. Okay.
Yeah, I just
Let me
want to
see
get
if
back in
let me
rehab.
He doesn't want to talk about that, does he? Change the subject to what he can do for
You're
her.
willing to volunteer.
I want to go to rehab. I want to finish my treatment. I want to start over and get back in my treatment.
Well, let me cover this, okay, and then let's talk about the rehab a little bit more, okay?
Okay.
When you came out of Liberty, did you come out of
The
the
gate,
gate?
the regular gate, the
Regular
opening gate,
The opening gates.
where you supposed to come out and go in.
Right, where did he stop you from that gate?
Like soon as you come out the gate, like soon as I got out the gate,
Right out the gate.
before I got to the next block.
Okay.
The gate part is on 27. He stopped me before I got to 26. Because both of them is part of Liberty. One is 27th and Phillips, I think. And then one is 26th in Lindsay.
Are you on the Lindsay side?
I'm trying to think what. Okay, you know where the murder office is? That's Kelly. Then go down. Then it's Laird. Then Laird is was it Lindsay after Laird? I think. Yeah, I was on the Well, I was in between both. I wasn't satellite. I hadn't made it to 26 to the corner. Like I was.
But you walk out the gates. I only know of one gate myself.
Yeah.
Trying to talk to y'all and I'm muted. Excuse me. I don't know if you caught it or not because it was a little hard to hear. And I hear it probably because I've listened to this interview 20 times. But Rocky Gregory asks Musney, can you pull up the satellite here? Meaning Google Maps is what he was referring to, so that they could map out a path or a location or a route. That's the word I think I'm looking for. A route that Daniel took her on, and because she's trying to remember what she's supposed to say here, and she can't remember. So they're going to pull up a satellite. Rocky says, we're going to pull up a satellite here. He tells Musney, can you pull up the satellite here? So that's just, and then he's going to lie about that during trial. Gregory is, he'll lie about that during the trial. So anyway, just want to share that.
For a ride too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They're going to take her for a ride. Another ride. Yep. We'll hear that too. Okay.
I walk out the gate and I turn. As soon as I
Turn right or left?
I don't know. I turn this way.
Left.
Whatever.
Okay, left. Okay. And he stopped you.
So, yeah.
Did he take you anywhere from there?
Yeah. He put me in a car and pulls around to 24th and stops.
And that's where he does everything he did to you.
Yeah.
24th and what?
24th and Lindsay. Then he says, it's some kind of place across the street from them apartments, like some kind of
Museum.
Yeah, museum.
So 26th and Lindsay, and he drives you to 24th and Lindsay.
Right.
Is it a parking lot or what is it?
No.
26 down to 24th.
It's right across the street.
Full satellite.
Like Google
Yeah,
Earth or
like she
something?
could visually see.
There's a museum right across the street from the apartments.
Okay. Where's he pull you into?
Right there on the street.
Oh, on the street. Okay.
Does
he search you before he puts you in the car? So everything is, he picks you up, he takes you over.
The only thing he searched was my purse.
Okay.
And when I told him I had a crack pipe, he took that out.
So when he gets you over there, that's when he comes to the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he have you get out of the car? Now, before you said he got you out of the car.
He got out the car.
He got out of the car.
I was sitting down and he came to the back seat, the back door, opens the door. And I was like, I told you I don't have no warrants or nothing, so can I go on? He said, open your pants. I said, what? He said, open your pants. He said, you got some panties on? And so I'm like looking at him like horrified.
Did you unzip your pants?
Yeah, what was I supposed to do? He the police.
Did you pull them on down?
No.
Okay. Did he move?
He just moved like the little flap to look.
Did you have on?
Part of my little zipper part.
Did you have on underwear?
Did I? No.
Okay. Could he see your vagina?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he said, raise your shirt up. He said, I already had my underclothes on. I was actually on my way over my friend Terry Wayne's to go lay down.
So you told him what?
He said, raise your shirt up. Do I have a bra on? He said, I didn't have no bra on. Then he was like, I could take you to jail for this crack pipe. I said, people just crunched. I said, most police just crunched that up and let us go. He said, I could. He said, but this is a charge or something.
So this is before you lift your shirt.
No, that was afterwards.
All right. How far did you lift your shirt?
I just raised it up and let it back down.
So he could tell you didn't have a bra on. Did he ask you to raise it all the way up?
Mm-hmm. He just said raise your shirt up.
Okay. And then the next thing after that is what?
And then he was telling me that he could take me to jail for my crack pipe. And I was telling him, man, please just let me go lay down. Because Terry, he's my friend, but I call him Uncle Terry. And he was like, he said, I want to say he said, you give me some head for 2 minutes. I want to say that's the way he said it. I don't know. And I was like, huh? I do not want to put my mouth on him. And he was like, oh, just 2 minutes. And I was like, wow.
So then,
because he had already kind of threatened me about the crack pipe, so I put my mouth on him.
did he unzip his pants or did he take it up over the top?
I don't know, because when I looked, it was already out. I don't know. When I looked up, he asked me that, he already had his thing out.
Okay, everything that you described of this person, of the officer, was that true?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already covered that.
Yeah, just the location was not right.
And tell me again why you gave a different location.
Because I don't want my boyfriend to know I had relapsed.
Now, going back to this, after the zip up, or after the blowjob, what happens?
Then he lets me out the car. Then he said, well, I can't give this back to you, my pipe. He gives my purse back. Then I said, well, shoot, you might as well let me have that back. Because I'm thinking to myself, you done violated me. And so he hands it back to me. And then he says, well, first he said, well, you really don't need it. He said, you might go to jail for it. And then he says, well, where are you walking to? I said, I'm just going straight up the street. I was going to the townhouses behind the warehouse office. The townhouses right there on Kelly.
Okay, yes.
I was going over Uncle Terry Wayne's house, and that was just right up the street. And he says, nah, I think I should take you. I said, no, I can walk. He said, I wouldn't want nothing bad to happen to you out here. Then I said, no, I can walk. Please let me walk.
That is the exact same narrative that she gives when she says in the report on the 24th of May, or when she in the first and second, or the second interview actually with Gregory. That's the same exact narrative that he says, I'll take you. She says, no, I can walk. And he says, no, I'll take you. I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you. The same narrative, the same story. So her story isn't changing except for the date and except for the location now. So I'm sure you all caught that already, but I just wanted to say it out loud.
And I wanted to tell him I wasn't gonna say nothing. Just please let me go. But I didn't get to say all that. I asked him to let me go, and he said, "No, I think I better take you." And I'll tell you where he took me. He put me in the car. He said, "I better take you." He put me in the car, but he drove past the street. He turned, and I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm just taking a different route." He passed the whole street. My grandmother lives on Hill Street. That's where I grew up on East Hill, right off of 32nd and Kelly. Well, it's a field right there. It looked like he was getting ready to turn the car into the field, and I started screaming. And he said, what he said, he said, "Oh, relax, just calm down. I'm gonna take you where you're supposed to go." So I'm thinking, well, what are you doing? Why are you taking all these detours? I think he was gonna do something more to me. I don't know.
So where did he take you to?
Finally, he took me back.
To where?
He finally took me to my uncle's apartment.
Off of that urban street?
Off of Kelly.
Urban League? That's Urban League.
Oh, yeah.
Where I saw you that one time? Very first.
No, he was taking me to 26th and Kelly, behind the welfare office.
So he takes you off of Kelly, behind the welfare office.
It's the townhouses, and I walk on to Terry Wayne's house, and I tell Terry that's what happened. Well, I didn't even tell my Uncle Terry Wayne. I just wanted to go and lay down.
Where's this field at that he drove?
On Hill, on East Hill. Right off of, it's right on, let me see.
Where your mom lives?
Where my grandma, yeah, it's a field down the street from her house.
He was gonna take you home?
He was gonna take me in that field. Her house is on this one end of the block, and there's a field that separates the blocks.
Why would he take you there?
In the field?
No. Why would he take you over by your grandma's house?
Probably because he seen that field. I don't think he knew that's where I grew up. I don't think he knew I grew up right there.
Do you remember him running you on the radio?
He said he did. I don't know. He said he did. All I heard him saying something, but I don't know if he was doing it for real or just. But I think he was doing it for real because he would have known that, because he seen I didn't have no warrants.
What's that, Greg?
Terry, where you said he took you after he
So I don't think he knew I grew up down the street from that field.
Okay. Was there did he pull in any kind of a driveway or anything like that?
No. I know he was going to pull in that field because I could tell by the way he was,
not the field. Where you first?
No, it was on the street. Outside that gate of the apartments.
So
right across from that museum.
Could you take us to the area?
Yeah, I could take you and show you directly. I could show you the field. I could show you where he did what he did to me. I could show you exactly where he picked me up.
All right. You have your authorization to take her?
Is this man gonna get to me in jail?
No. Hey. Hey, have your Coke. Just relax. Hey,
Terry, you're doing fantastic.
Look, I want to talk a little bit more about this rehab. Okay.
Okay.
You serious about this?
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah. You think Detective Williams show y'all everything?
Yeah, just push it. Just hit the big red button and you're out.
I thought your name was Detective Greg Williams.
No, it's Gregory.
Why I get Williams?
My first name is Rocky.
Oh.
Remember, like the boxer?
Yeah, Rocky.
There you go. Maybe that might be easy. Okay.
And then there wasn't no other police with him either.
Hey, one more question. Was that, and now you said before, is the older style car? Not
Yeah, it was the black and white one, the old square ones.
Okay, and it wasn't the new black street?
No.
Okay.
You think after I show you everything that I might can make one call to my boyfriend and let him know what's going on, my ex? Because he called me and said he seen something about it on the news. Was it on the news?
Yours is not on the news.
Yeah, he said the girl. And he said he thought about me, and he said, I am so sorry for thinking you were lying.
Terry, this is permission for me to take remember the spit?
Yeah.
Okay. Just look at this. You can read, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now all you gotta do is right here.
I want to get out of here and get into a drug treatment. I know they're gonna let me out anyway.
As far as the charges, I can't do anything about it.
I know, but they said, I already know the people said that I was gonna go home. They just said they backed up.
Okay.
I ain't got no more trespassing.
Well, I just found out that you were over here, and then I knew you wanted to.
Who told you?
But we can pull it up.
Well, how did you know to pull this up?
Well, because it's
Did I put the date down?
Sure.
I don't know the date. 10.
7/10. It's 7/10.
Well, what kind of drug treatment can you get me? Oh yeah, for my birthday next month.
Well, I don't know. I'll have to do some checking. Okay?
Like, I don't want to go to DRI. I'm scared of that. If I want to go to a drug treatment that works.
Well,
Well, maybe I shouldn't be scared of DRI. Maybe maybe I let people scare me too much about it. But maybe y'all can get me in DRI.
I wish you would have told me before that was a different location.
I know, but I was scared after I told y'all that.
But then you told me again.
I know, I was still scared.
You scared of the officer?
Yeah.
Well, you've seen me enough during all this.
I was talking to my roommate about this last night, and I said, do you think he can find me in here? Is he free? I don't want him to come and get me and bother me.
He's not an officer right now. Okay, we've taken his gun.
So he can't just come in this place, huh?
Nope.
This is like the safest place I feel.
It's very safe.
But then I was thinking, what if, he got some friends in this place that'll come get me or something? Do you think that if I show you the locations, that I can make a call to my ex and tell him what's going on?
I don't see a problem about that. Let's see what we can do, okay?
Because I haven't been able to call her. But my ex did tell me that he said, I'm sorry that I didn't believe you.
You're sorry with what?
My ex told me he's sorry he didn't believe me when I was telling him about the rape.
Do you remember ever seeing him before?
That police?
Yeah.
No. Like if I seen him before, I wouldn't know because I don't, I'm so busy trying to get away from him now. Like if I seen him, I would remember because like when police is stop, black folks doing wrong, we trying to move away, hurry up and get away. Well, I guess that's anybody doing wrong.
That's anybody doing wrong. Okay.
But I wasn't even doing nothing wrong that night. I didn't have a crack pipe and I was getting high like early up in the day. But shit, I didn't have no money in that and I was going to lay down.
Where did you go after that happened?
Where did he end up dropping me off?
Where did you go? Where did you go after he dropped you off?
I went over to Terry Wayne's where I was headed and went to sleep. I didn't tell. No, matter of fact, I did. Once he left. Yeah, did I? No, I didn't. I started getting high again. No, I did. Once he dropped me off, I was so in shock that I think I started really getting high, trying to find me some drugs.
Did you talk to Terry Wayne?
I didn't tell him what happened. I didn't tell nobody what happened for like almost a week. I think it might have been a week or a day over. But I wasn't talking and telling nobody nothing. I was scared to tell somebody.
No, I understand that. Look, if you don't mind, I'd like to take you for a ride so you can show me
all three of the places?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you can bring your pop there with you.
I drunk that. This is not.
I brought one.
I love pop.
Terry with an I or a Y?
Do you got a candy bar?
No, I don't have nothing.
My daddy's name is spelled with a Y.
What's your date of birth?
1970. I want to go to drug treatment. Detective Greg, please help me get in the treatment so I can get myself better.
Well,
I don't want to get on high no more. I don't want to stay on these streets.
see, and you had done rehab before.
Yeah, but the reason why, what made me relapse is, I don't know, I had relapse, but I was gonna go back like the next day.
And one more thing, did he ever do any of this? The whole, did you have to put your hands on top of the car or anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay, before you told me you put your hands on top of the car.
No, I don't remember telling you. He might have put his hands on top of the car. He had me sitting in the car.
You're saying everything. You showing your breasts.
I was sitting down the
Him
whole
looking at
time.
your vagina and the blow job was all in the back seat of the car.
Yeah, he was standing up like this. And I was sitting like this. He was standing up over me like this, right here.
When you gave him oral sex,
All I did was turn my head.
did you touch him?
My mouth did, no. I didn't put my hands on my
So
mouth.
you didn't even put your feet on the ground outside, you just turned your body
Just my head, yeah.
for oral sex. Okay. You ready? I'm gonna get ready.
They're going to think y'all take me.
What you just heard is completely different than what Morris has been professing as the truth every time.
Completely different. And it just happens to match the route of the May 8th traffic stop now that Daniel made with her and called in. Except she couldn't say that he took her in that field because that wasn't going to match the AVL. So they
didn't want to talk about that, did they?
Yeah, they kept shutting her down every time she would try to go off the rails. Now they did everything but like, Terry, we talked about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember
we discussed this now.
Yeah, you said that. Now you still saying that he put his hands on the car, or that he made you put your hands on the car, or whatever he said. Like, how he's just so transparent and trying to make it all of the Ligons allegations be as close to possible.
Yeah.
And this is an oral sodomy. I think there were 3 charges. Forcible oral sodomy, procuring lewd exhibition, 2 counts of that, which Daniel was found not guilty on all of these charges, which is kind of sickening because the person that allowed this case to go forward and turn into a serial rape case, he was found not guilty on all of her charges.
Yeah.
And I bet it was because of this halfway recorded interview right here. And how many times she told the same story.
The same story, yeah. Exactly.
Convincingly. I mean, even in her deposition for the civil trial, she's still saying that the assault happened just a few days before the 911 call. Just a few days. So she's still saying the 20th or 21st after all this time.
Yep. And she was very, very feisty in her deposition. She still believes it's Daniel that did it because that's what they've told her. But yeah, she reverted back even in her clearer head. We could tell in the deposition that they, what parts of the depositions I've seen, that she's definitely, they cleaned her up and she'd been clean for some amount of time. They had to, because there's no way she could have done a deposition, like she was on the first or second interviews with Rocky. There's just no way. So she was cleaned up and clean.
Off the streets.
Living
with her aunt, I think.
She looked nice. But she still she reverted back to the same story that she told on May 24th. And the only thing different, really, that I remember that I saw in the deposition was that she put a name to the cop now instead of just, a cop. And she put a name to it because that's what they had told her. That's what Rocky and, everybody else had told her. This was Daniel Holtzclaw that did this to you.
She kept saying Holtzclaw.
Holtzclaw, yeah. Yeah. I know it's not popular, but I don't give a shit, but I just have a weak spot in my heart for her because even though she's one of the accusers and she needs to do the right thing and tell the truth, what Rocky Gregory did to her to even get her into court was disgusting to me. It was horrific what he did to her. And if you go back and watch the first interview on YouTube, it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking what he did to her, and it just made me feel so sad for her. I really just did. I just felt sad for her. I'm pissed that she's still lying and claiming that it's Daniel and whatever. But I think by now she needs to own the truth and say it. But I think that of all of them. So anyway, it's just listening to her and then listening to her when she's clean and sober in jail in this last one that we just listened to. It's just really, really rough. So, yeah. So
So
anyway,
now they've got what they need. So they can go to Galen Gigger, they can go to the DA and try to get him to file some charges based on Terry Morris's claim, maybe alone. But what was it that he agreed to file?
On Terry Morris?
Yeah, slide 105. On July 16th, 2014, Detective Kim Davis spoke with ADA Galen Gigger, who stated he would file one count of forcible oral sodomy each for accusers Ligons and Morris. So now they're thinking about getting him into custody.
Which slide did you say, Kay? Sorry.
That's 105.
No.
Not 105.
No.
Huh. That's what it is on my screen. I don't know. July 16th. Oh, maybe you had yours loaded and I just put that in there after you had it loaded. I don't know.
Oh.
Should show up, right?
Yeah, it's still
anyway, that's what it says. And then on July 22nd, Kim Davis contacts Daniel's FOP attorney, Susan Knight, to tell her that they have discovered female DNA on the inside fly of Daniel's uniform pants. And so the next thing they're going to do, since they have Morris attached to the case, is they're going to contact Kayla Lyles, who is someone that Daniel pulled over right before his shift ended, right before he clocked out, and then subsequently pulls over Jannie Ligons. So they're going to try to get Kayla Lyles involved in the case. And from this point on, it's just a matter of finding the women that he is come into contact with and trying to find one whose DNA matches that DNA on his uniform pants. And they didn't, they only swabbed the fly of his pants, around the fly of his pants. They didn't do a control. They didn't swab his knee or his thigh or his pockets. We know they didn't go to his house and take his underwear, which were in the washing machine. They didn't collect any other uniforms from his house or any other clothing. They just, this one, I think they really just didn't want to muddy it up.
Yeah.
The more things that are involved, the more chances there are that something will be exculpatory, and they're going to have to explain that. So here we are.
But they got hers who got who's under your scars. They got
hers. Well, I mean, we're going to find out that the DNA matches the last accuser that they find, which of course they're not going to keep looking for more accusers after they find the DNA match, because at this point it's become a crazy ordeal that they really don't have any evidence at all at this point. They have Terry's word. They have Jannie Ligons' story that doesn't match any of the evidence, saying kit's negative, going to be negative, no handprints or DNA on the top of the car, nothing. So far, there's nothing. So they're scrambling to try to find the match to that female DNA. And it's going to be Adara Gardner's, who is the last one they tracked down. She was hard to get in touch with, I guess.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yep, we agree. They were all manufactured, solicited, reverse engineered, whatever you want to call it. Any name you want to give it is what they did to them, but tell them the truth. So, yeah, it's that's what I mean. It feels like we're talking more about Terry Morris than we are Jannie Ligons, but it's like we've been saying, it's important to make the connection of Terry Morris to Jannie Ligons and how it all went forward from there. So, comments have been great tonight in both chats. So, I'm really pleased and grateful for comments and questions. Liam's picked up on quite a few of the lies, and what do I want to say? Well, just lies. They're just lies, and forgetfulness for for what stories were supposed to be told by Terry Morris. So
Under your scars says she gave him a blowjob, yet no DNA.
Right.
So as we go along, you're going to find out that there should have been more than just Daniel's DNA in her mouth, because I mentioned Kayla Lyles is who they're going after next to try to track down. She alleges that he vaginally raped her and made her give him a blowjob. So his DNA, her DNA is on his penis. Then his penis goes into Jannie Ligons' mouth. So there's none of her DNA in Jannie Ligons' oral wash or around her mouth. And there's one more accuser, Adara Gardner, who her DNA possibly could have been in Jannie Ligons' oral wash or around her mouth too, because she alleges hers are
vaginal rape,
and then she said he stuck his fingers inside of her. So forcible oral sodomy, I guess, is that charge too.
Well, it wasn't
rape by instrumentation. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's what it would be.
Well, Dr. Silkman said that had he vaginally penetrated Kayla Lyles and Adara Gardner, like as the claims are, that both their DNAs would have been in Jannie Ligons' mouth as well. If he had vaginally raped both of those girls, that their DNA should have been in her mouth, in Jannie Ligons' mouth as well. And there was nothing. Jannie Ligons' mouth was clean, like she just washed it out with mouthwash or something. Just scrubbed her teeth clean with bleach or something. You know, it was just only her DNA.
Or like no one wants to put anything in her mouth.
Yeah. 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 So, yeah, so we're just going to keep, I think we've made a pretty good connection at this point with Terry Morris. Can we get updates on the DNA Dr. Silkman provided? There's no updates. It's just, that is what it is. That was the DNA that was used at trial, is all that Dr. Silkman has, is all that they had. I don't know about what Dr. Silkman said. I haven't written to Daniel in a while. I don't know if anybody else has told him. I don't know if Kay's told him about.
He does know. Yeah, he does know. He's happy about it.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's awesome. He needs some
Yeah,
happy.
he was excited about it.
And that reminds me, I'm going to see if I can get my hands on it somewhat quickly here. Daniel could really, really use some letters from supporters. And I know, I know how it is. Oh, excuse me. I know how it is when you don't know somebody, or you're trying to write to somebody who's in prison. You don't know what to say. Oh, pardon me. But it's Daniel just needs letters. He wants to hear what's going on out in the outside. He wants to know what we're all doing. And I know that there's been, comments before from people who are, not sure if writing and telling them about, what they're doing on the outside, they don't want to make him feel bad or whatever. But he wants the letters. He wants that. That's positivity that he wants and needs. So he's fine with that. If you look inside the Discord, I can't post it here, but if you look inside Discord where it's in the front of the house in letters to Daniel, I've pinned a list of questions that Daniel likes to ask people when they start writing to him for the first time. And so that's a good way for you to, kind of start, even if it's just one letter, it's a good way to know what to say in your first letter or your only letter or whatever. But he's definitely in need of some support right now and some encouragement and some positivity. So, if you can, please send him a letter. And I've put the address in my chat, and I'll drop it here in Foul Play as well. So it's just a standard letter. You just write them a letter. They're going to open it and read it. They that's just how it is in prisons. They open and read all the mail that goes in and goes out.
Oh, yeah. And he also requests that you write your name and address on the letter itself, because sometimes they don't copy the address for him. So he doesn't even know who this letter's from except for the signature. So if you just will do that, he'll have your address.
And he's pretty good about writing back. I mean, he can't always do it immediately or right away, but he's really good about writing back. So, just send him a letter, if it's a card, something, and just let him know that, you're thinking of him or whatever, because he really, I can't imagine, but he really could use the support. He's feeling a little down and discouraged, of course. And, these things take so much time, and so it's hard. We're all out on the outside, busy going about our business, doing our lives, whether it's working, going to school, researching, whatever we're doing. We're free to move about and go wherever we want, in or outside. But he's stuck there, and so I can't imagine how long a day is for him. So that would be really helpful to him if you could. So I think that's all we have prepared for tonight as far as Daniel's case goes. I do want to, unless there's questions or comments in the chats that you'd like to ask, or something you'd like to say, or I want to remind everyone what thank you, Liam. You're so good. You're amazing. I think Liam has gone into Discord, and he's copying and pasting the questions that Daniel asked. So that's awesome. Thank you, Liam. But I wanted to let you know what's going on with Richard Glossop. There was a Facebook Live today, and I wish I was at work when I was listening to it, and I don't even know how to get to it at this point. It's I thought I gave somebody the link, but I can't remember who it was. I think I gave it to Kay, and oh, there it is. Let me see if I can get it. And they did a pretty lengthy Kevin McDougal and yes, let's see. How do I share this? Let's see if well, what I'll do is I'll just share the link, and then you can go and find it. It's the first one, but they did a pretty lengthy, I don't know if you call it a press conference today, about, I don't know if that'll take it. No, that doesn't gonna work. Oh crap.
It was a press conference from the Oklahoma House of
Representatives. Yeah, it's not letting me. No, I'll just do it this way. Maybe this works better. I'm bad at these kinds of things. Let's see. Okay, that'll work. So that's their Facebook page. So if you want to listen to this press conference they did today, it was really pretty interesting. And I'll tell you, Kevin McDougal, Republican, and J.J. Humphrey, Republican. J.J. Humphrey's pissed. He's like, I can't remember if it was him or McDougal that said, if they kill Richard Glossop next week, that he will advocate to abolish the death penalty in Oklahoma. So that's a pretty big deal. And I'm pretty sure it was, I'm not pretty sure. It was McDougal or J.J. Humphrey. But Sister Prejean, Helen Prejean, spoke near the end. They also, Kay, did you watch that today?
I did.
Okay. I was surprised they had Adam Luck. I really, when they said Adam Luck was going to speak, I was like, whoa, because that was a pretty big deal to me. And
he was pretty kind. He could have ripped the governor. He could have ripped I guess they're wanting the governor to give the 60-day stay. So I guess that's why he didn't go into the details of his interactions with the governor and his decision to step off of the Pardon and Parole Board, because I guess he was catching a lot of flack from the governor for all of his Julius Jones, the way he viewed the Julius Jones case. Yeah.
I can share it if you want. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, Jack just shared Jack has the did you, I don't know if anybody else had a chance to listen to it. It's about an hour and a half long, so we're probably not going to listen to it. But near the end, when JJ, I'm not sure where it was, Jack, maybe an hour in or so, if
Yeah.
you want to search for it and see. But JJ Humphrey got really, really angry, and it was the way he came down and the way he pretty much raised his voice and thumped on the pulpit. He was angry, and
Yeah, it's 59 minutes long. Let's see.
what? Oh, well, I don't know. You think they'll give him a stay? I don't know. I don't think. I mean, the Supreme Court might, but I don't think Stitt's going to do anything for him. Oh, we can't hear it, Jack. Yeah, we're not hearing it for some reason. I don't know. We can't. Well, JJ Humphrey's the little guy. I always call him the little guy because he's a short little guy. I think if you maybe go back just a little bit, Jack, I think we'll be able to see JJ Humphrey speaking. But he's a small guy with the cowboy hat and the boots and the whole 9 yards. That's Sister Prejean.
Jack, he's the second speaker, so it's going to be pretty far back, actually.
Oh, okay.
He's right after this guy.
Right after McDougal. Yeah. There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. If we can hear it, I'd sure like to, because he was pretty. I don't know why we can't
We'll see.
hear.
He should be coming up. Can you hear that?
I can't hear it, but I don't know about the people in the chats.
Well, check YouTube.
No.
Yeah, that remote's dead. Hold on.
I hope you're right, TJ. Well, dang it. Well, we can't hear it, but Jack, if you can find that timestamp at least and tell folks when they can listen to. I mean, it's all good. All of it's worth listening to.
It's around 12 minutes and about 12 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I would imagine if I loaded this in Firefox, it would play.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely worth listening to the whole thing. And this is where they're talking about, they're going to demand that they want us all to demand from the governor, that he follow through with this and do the right thing. But I think Stitt's already decided what he's going to do, and I don't think it's going to be in Richard's favor. But next Tuesday, from 10 to 11:30, and Kay said there was one this morning as well. I didn't find anything on the one they had this morning, the rally, but they're going to be doing a justice rally next Tuesday morning from 10 to 11:30 on the steps of the Capitol. Dr. Phil, who I'm not a fan of at all, has been following this case for quite some time because of Sister Prejean, and I think I'm saying her name right, and
Susan Sarandon.
Sarandon, thank you. He's been following the case because of them for quite some time, and he's been advocating for Richard Glossop, and so he's going to be meeting with the legislators after the rally at 11:30 next Tuesday morning. That's the day before the scheduled execution. So if you live anywhere in Oklahoma or anywhere near Oklahoma City, and if you're able, thanks for pulling that up, Jack. and you think you can get to that rally, I recommend going. I mean, I would if I could. But at any rate, it's just going to be probably with one the fourth longest week of Richard Glossop's life at this point. Again, I say fourth because this is his fourth time. This will be his fourth last meal if it goes to that point. And I can't even imagine what it's like, what it will be like. I would imagine by now he is on death watch. I know Julius Jones was on death watch a month prior to his scheduled execution. So, did you say, Kay, that he is? Did you?
I'm sure that he is as close as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
if he's not, he soon will be, at least 2 weeks prior. But I know there have been some cases. I think it was one of his former times on death watch where he was there for 50 something days.
Yeah. Yeah. That was on the, we saw that on the documentary Killing Richard Glossop, that he was in there for like 52 days.
That's right.
And I thought that I was surprised by that.
Governor Stitt's been doing these Q&As every Thursday. And last week, a reporter asked him about Glossop, and he said, that he wanted to let the legal system play out, and now it has. And so the execution will carry on as planned. And then another reporter said, will you give him a 60-day stay? And he said, I think I've done that before once, maybe twice. I can't remember. You'd think you'd remember some shit like that. But no, I'm not going to do that. So he has declared that he is not going to do that. Yeah. Now, maybe he'll be pressured to do it, but I could see him just giving the finger to everyone and letting him execute him. I'm not going to be shocked.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm going to be sick and heartbroken, but I'm not going to be shocked because I know it's all about being positive and positive thinking, and there's still time. There's absolutely still time. But at the same time, I know how bloodthirsty they are I know how thirsty they are for Glossop's blood. And if they execute him next Thursday night, his blood will be on all their hands. And JJ Humphrey and Kevin McDougal ain't happy about it. So hopefully it's up to I really feel like now it's up, his life is in the hands of the Supreme Court at this point. And, we don't even know if it's going to make it to the Supreme Court. So
it's 2 weeks. It's not next Thursday, but the next
2 weeks, the 18th.
So yeah, he would be on death watch.
He's most certainly on death watch. Yeah. So, oh gosh, I'm glad that's 2 weeks. I was thinking it was next week. So thank you for reminding me of that. I was thinking that I'm trying to rush May through April. I don't even know what happened to April. I barely remember April at all, but I'm now trying to rush May through. Gosh, I don't know why, but anyway, yeah. And I absolutely believe that Kevin Stitt, that Richard Glossop's blood will be on Kevin Stitt's hands, and damn him to hell, because it's sick to just be willing to just say, yeah, I've already done that once, maybe twice, I don't remember. Well, that's something that should be burned in your fucking brain every night before you go to sleep, in my opinion. So I don't know. Anyway, it's we have 2 weeks. So we'll do again, like I've been saying, unless anything major happens. Well, that's good that it's 2 weeks. I was thinking we were down to a week, and that how in the world was the Supreme Court gonna? So we have 2 weeks, so that I feel better about that. There's more time to get it through to the Supreme Court to hear it. Um, but in this, like I've said for the last several weeks, unless something major pops up with Richard Glossop in this next week, we'll get back to Jannie Ligons and continue talking about her accusation in Daniel's case. Yeah, where did you see that at? I wonder, under your scars. You mean in Oklahoma? I'm not surprised about that in Oklahoma, because they're, like I said, they're a red state, and conservatives typically all support the death penalty. And I don't know, maybe I'm generalizing, but that's just what it appears to be to me.
Well, that's home of Bloodthirsty Bob.
Yeah.
Bloodthirsty Bob Macy.
And yeah, thank you for saying that, Jack. Just a reminder, if nobody remembered hearing it before, Bob Macy was the one who prosecuted Richard Glossop in his first trial. So,
Yep, that's why I said it.
yeah. He and Joyce Gilchrist. So, anyway, I really don't know what else to say about Richard Glossop. It's just a waiting game, and we just have to keep, sharing the tweets. If you're on Twitter, sign the petition. I wish I had that petition right at my fingertips, but I don't. I'm pretty sure that Kat will put it in the description tonight or tomorrow when she fills the description up with links, and see, so that if you haven't signed the petition, you can go in and sign it. I'm such a negative Nancy anymore. I'm so jaded. I'm, I it's so hard to remain positive watching what's going on with Stephen and Brendan, with Daniel, with Richard Glossop, with Rodney Reed, with any number of people that are in prison or on death row who are fighting every fight that they can, doing every appeal that they possibly can, everything that they can, scraping the prison walls for freedom and justice, and none of them really getting it, really gets hard to stay positive about. And I know that I see people every day, several times a week, that are being exonerated after, yeah, foul language. When I do get wound up, for sure. But this one's good. Bob Disgracie. Is he related to nasty disgrace? Oh, probably. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble, and I'm starting to annoy myself, so I'm probably doing the same or worse to all of you. Kay, do you have any last comments or things that you want to mention?
No, other than we're just going to continue to follow the timeline.
All right.
Next week. That's it.
Next week, we'll get back on it. I don't think Cherie is here. I know she wasn't feeling well a little while ago, so she might have went to lay down and hopefully fallen asleep, because she was feeling pretty yucky. Jack, how about you? What do you have to say to our chatters?
Well, thanks everybody for coming and continuing to deep dive into Daniel's case. It's it needs a major documentary to get the attention that it deserves, to point out the inadequacies and shortcomings that are all over this case. It's a horrible case. So appreciate that. And a little plug for Foul Play for the weekend. Got reading with the crew on Saturday, which we have more new slides that Doc has found, and I've been going through them, and damn, Just
Oh, we're never going to
it's
end this chapter, are we?
no, it's bad, and it's directly to to Pam and Nicole Sturm, and we got some short video clips, and it's going to be good. So that's 5 o'clock Central on Saturday, and then Sunday. I was actually going to try to do this tomorrow night, but there's just not time. I just got too many other things going on. I was going to try to make it an extra open mic, but as many may or may not know, Ken Kratz has released two interviews. They're not very long. I think one's 3 minutes and change, the other one's 2 minutes and change. And then convicting a murderer, Candace Owens, she's been elected to be the narrator of this convicting a murderer. It's going to be released here in a couple of months. She's made some statements and she made some real missteps. I'm sure it was to get a response. Anyway, I want to do a rebuttal on both what Kratz said and some of the things that Candace Owens and Sean Reck have said. I think that's what's going to be the open mic for Sunday. So I won't say it is new, it's different, but I think it's important to do this rebuttal. So that's the plan.
That sounds great. I think it'll be interesting.
Yep, it will
I
be.
will be there for
Sweet.
sure. Okay. Well, if there's no other comments or no one on the panel has anything else to say, until next week, peace out.